and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, it's our first in a series of interviews with grassroots people. In this video, we interview Ryan Williams, the manager of Dee Rangers. We discuss the past of the club, the present of the club, and what he sees the future of the club being. We also discuss a range of Sunday League issues. If you want to follow Dee Rangers, I'll leave their links in the description below or the video below. They do great things for the community in Chester, raise a lot of money for charity. Ryan was very generous with his time and I'm very thankful for it. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Joined here by Ryan Williams from Dee Rangers. So first of all, just for the viewers, can you just introduce yourself briefly and obviously your involvement with the club?
Yeah, man. So obviously, my name's Ryan. I've been the manager for Dee Rangers for what's about to be 9 seasons. I've had 10 seasons at the club. First one as a player, or sorry, this will be my 10th season at the club as a player. But over those years of taking over as manager, I've become chairman, secretary, kit man, everything, absolutely everything, and now we're in a stable position of financial safety and such like that. We're now able to attract other volunteers, so the club captain is also the treasurer, and we have another chairman now who is effectively just a named role, but he does get involved. He does get involved with the charity work we do and stuff. So there's other volunteers around me now, whereas probably for the first 5 years it was just a one-man band. So yeah, it's a bit of everything, and I'm trying, still hanging on to the fact that I can still play a bit.
Yeah, so obviously I did kind of a bit of research on the club, like for how long it's going, but can you give a brief history of, if you know anything more about the club? Because I know they've been running for about 40 years now. So you just give a little background of the club's history.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 1982, we changed the name of the club from the New Inn to Dee Rangers. So that is, this coming up will be our 39th season as Dee Rangers. And in that time, we've had, various different stories, various different games, different home pitches, all those sorts of things that come with it. But for me, the real history is how, when we formed as Dee Rangers, it was actually by taking over another team. Because in them days, there was a waiting list for new teams. So when they took over the New Inn, there was 3 or 4 players who went and joined the New Inn, finished off the season there, paid off the debt. 5 of them came together, 5 mates came together to start the new season as Dee Rangers, and paid off everything, etc., and just started basically a new team. But that then gives us, in terms of registration with the FA, an additional sort of 12 years, because that club has never deregistered, never folded. So although Dee Rangers only exists from 1982, our original name, which was Stonebridge before it was the New Inn, dates back to roughly 1974. So, we're probably one of the oldest in Cheshire.
Yeah, so we're going to talk now about the present. We're going to talk about this season gone. Obviously, it was a tough season for all clubs with the COVID break in the middle, and obviously probably a few double headers in that. Yeah, just talk about obviously the season for Dee Rangers this season. Couple of positives, couple of negatives. How you felt the season went.
Yeah, well, I think on the whole, the season was just good to continue. It was just nice to be able to play football again. So that's a huge positive, I think, for everyone. For us specifically, I think we are a little disappointed in where we finished in the league. We finished sort of mid-table, which is maybe 3-4 places lower than where we'd want to be. We want to be sort of pushing for that league. I'm not quite certain that we were good enough to win the league, but on our day, I do think we can beat anyone. which leads us to the positives really, and the positives that we got to 2 cup semi-finals and a cup quarter-final. So that cup run really took our attention. We probably put them as priority, and maybe rested a couple of the players who were coming back from injury in the league games, where we maybe in other years or in other circumstances we might not have done that. But to get to 2 cup semi-finals from our perspective was mega, and unfortunately we lost them both, but we did lose them both to the teams who went on to win the cup. So at least we sort of got that as a positive, and to play in those, both against teams from a division above us, and to play really, really well and just lose out by the odd goal in both games is brilliant for us, really.
I know you mentioned obviously that you would like to aim towards the league, but could you give me kind of like any aims and objectives you have for next season, and maybe forward planning towards 5 or 10 seasons in the future? I know it's a long way, but any like long-term goals you have for the club?
Yeah, well, we've just restructured the league, so the league will now be 3 divisions instead of 2, which is a massive benefit. It sort of eases out a little bit of the unfairities that come with having bigger divisions. We've got 5 new teams entered into the league as a whole, and what that means is they would have all gone into 1 division beforehand, which meant right down to mid-table would have had to have been promoted, which means you'd have teams in that top division that were maybe last year finished 6th in the 2nd division. So they would have been a pummeling for them, really, which I think we've made a good choice as a league committee to do that, which means for us we stay in the 2nd division, and it makes that division a lot more competitive. It means that we should be up there competing. We should be ready to try and finish in them top 2-3 spots of the league. Not unrealistic, but we do have quite a small squad, so we have to really work at that. For me, my aim, my sort of pride, my point of pride would be to win a trophy. I'd love to win a trophy for Dee Rangers, and just to feel like that 10 years worth of effort from me and my brother who's the captain, and to sort of say this is amazing, we've finally got that cup. That's a goal, but not really a goal we can put a time scale on. I'd love to win one at any stage, but we can't say that by 2000 and whatever we will have won a trophy, because we just don't have that level of control, as I'm sure you know. But what we do have control of is continuing to be the example in our league, the example in our county of how to run a Sunday League men's team. We want to grow the club. We have a first team and a veterans team already. We want to introduce a ladies team when we have players and facility to do so. We want to introduce a kids team because so many of the players have got their own kids. So in the next year or 2, they'll be looking to start proper football playing and getting involved with more than just the Diddy kicker clubs and stuff like that. So the progression of the club for me is more off the field and growing it and growing the name, and for lack of a better term, the brand, and to say that we are recognised as an exceptionally run club, a club that's trusted, a name that people will recognise from the local area and say, oh, they're good people, they're a good club, they do for charity, they do for community. We want to be involved, we want to help them, we want our kids to play for them. And to see my son and his friends wearing the blue and white hoops would make me really proud to say that we put that facility in place. It's something that we care about, it's something that they care about, and then we can sort of bring them through for the next 20 years, really, until they're all playing in the men's team.
So you've mentioned you've been around for about 10 years with the club. Can you just talk about how you've seen the kind of Sunday League scene evolve? Have you seen a change in quality or quantity of teams? How do you think it's changed over like the last 10, 15 years?
I think that the difficulty is when I signed and when I started playing men's football at 16, the difficulty was that the laws around sort of drinking were changing, and you could see that the Saturday afternoons were pretty staggered and plateaued, was them Sunday mornings after a late Saturday night. You were struggling to get players. You were getting the bare 11 kick off, and you might get a sub turn up. And then over the next few years, before I signed for Dee Rangers and got involved with Dee Rangers, I saw the teams that I was playing for. We were losing teams, we were losing divisions, we were losing teammates, and almost every game you were turning up with teams playing bare bones of numbers. As things have evolved now, that sort of bare bones mentality stopped, but the number of teams is significantly declined. I remember when I first joined men's football 16, 17 years ago, there was 4 divisions, and the following year they were talking about, oh, it's such a shame to lose the 4th division. And now, last year we finished with 2 divisions, and we're expanding to 3, but we have made them slightly smaller. So although we've got more teams than we had last year, we've just split them slightly differently, so that instead of having 2 divisions of 10, we've got 3 divisions of 8. So we've only got a couple more. I think Sundays are really struggling at the moment, but the positive of that is the people that are involved are amazing people, and they're getting better at what they do across the country. The representation that Sunday League's getting is, I think it's starting to lose that mentality of the rough game where, idiots in the pub go and break each other's leg, and it's becoming a game that lads can play a decent standard of football, lads can go and enjoy themselves, have a laugh, go to the pub afterwards. And it doesn't have to be the toss-up between playing Saturday, where you have to be a semi-pro and you have to take it dead serious, and you have to have £100 boots, and playing Sunday, where it's just ragtag and bare arse and poor standards. I think the two things are a lot closer to one another now, where people take that Sunday League slightly more seriously, but without taking it too seriously.
Yeah, so moving on, obviously, I'm from the south and you're from the north. So obviously there's kind of a debate on what kind of, north or south's better. Obviously, one of the better Sunday leagues is the Liverpool Business House League. Spawned a lot of very quality teams, but how do you feel the general health is of the northern kind of Sunday league football scene at the moment?
From the teams that we keep in touch with, the teams we play friendlies against, and then the odd game we draw in, county cups or what have you. It's very representative of what we've got, in the sense that I think the good players want to play, and the lads who want to play for a laugh want to play. But what I think, even in bigger cities than Chester, like Liverpool or Manchester, what they're struggling with is that middle of the road, where there's lads who are okay at football and they're relatively committed. Those teams don't sort of exist too much in the north. It seems to be either lads who are absolutely amazing, really good, high standard of football, where when you play against them, you think, Jesus Christ, these lads could be getting paid. Or there's lads who look like they've never met each other. The kits don't match, not wearing boots that fit. But to me, that sort of mix of those two teams, as long as they're split fairly in their divisions, which I couldn't testify to, but if they were, then it's all good fun. It's all good fun for everyone. I think the standard of football in Manchester and Liverpool is so high that they could take on anyone. And that drips down to, the Liverpool Sunday League is top class. The 3rd and 4th divisions, and however far down they get to go in, is really, really high standards. Whereas maybe in the smaller areas, like Chester is a smaller area, when we play teams from an equivalent division in those bigger cities, they're generally really, really good. If we go and play a 2nd division Liverpool side, they're really good. Whereas Chester, I don't think we've got that pool of players to be at the same standard. So when we play them, we generally look a division below, because that's sort of more of a leveler for us. But yeah, the standard of football is so high, and the organisation is so good, and some of these teams are brilliant. They've got great facilities, and it's just, for me, it's great to see it happening, because they are keeping lads active, and in some areas there's not a great deal of choice for else to do. So it's great to see it is thriving in those areas as well.
Yeah, we're just going to move on now to YouTube teams. Obviously, over the last 5-10 years, you've seen the emergence of YouTube teams. What are the for you? What are the positives and negatives that they bring to Sunday League football?
Ooh, the difficulty is that there's not any proven track record. So what's the longevity? You know, do these clubs do it to play football, or do they do it to try and get famous? You know, that's tough to know, because there is no, you know, there's no examples from the past. The fact that they're putting eyes on Sunday League and showing people that Sunday League can be good and it can be fun, it can be exciting, and all those positive things, that can only be good. It can only be good. My issue is with these teams, they often get to a point where they're the ones attracting players and they're the ones who are getting all the information, and they stockpile players. And stockpiling players, whether you're a YouTube team or any other team, you know, doesn't help anyone. If you've got a lad who sits on a bench or sits in the backup team every week and never gets a game, but you keep signing him on and he keeps turning up to training, let him go and play somewhere else. You know, I'm not saying that every team should only have 14 players, but some squads have got 50 and 60 players and they just whittle it down to 16 for a Sunday. And you just think, there's enough for 3 teams there. You know, you could have 3 other teams in the division as opposed to just one, because they want their naming rights on YouTube. But yeah, I think it's probably fair that they want to get on YouTube. We've got our own little YouTube channel, just so it's easier than sharing videos from our charity stuff. It's easier to put them online, but I wouldn't call us a YouTube team. We just record the odd thing that we do. But I don't think some of these teams that set themselves up like they're doing an Amazon documentary, I'm not convinced that they're quite certain of how good they are. That I think some of them think they're fantastic and they're not quite there yet. But you know, if they're having fun, let them crack on.
Yeah. So rules wise, now we're talking about anything that you don't like or do like with the kind of new rules that have been implemented, kind of like the sin bins and stuff like that. Anything you want to see changed within, you know, the Sunday League game rules wise?
No, I'm all right with the sin bin. I quite like the sin bin. I'd like to see it extended to more than just dissent. I think it should be an opportunity for the referee to manage a player and say, this, you know, he's getting a bit hot-headed. Going to give him 5-10 minutes to cool down, as opposed to him having to caution lads or send lads off. But at the moment, with it being strictly for dissent, you can still have those dangerous moments on the field. And ultimately, we've all got work or whatever else we need to do in life. Very few of us are getting paid to play football. Very few in society are getting paid to play football. So if a referee's got an opportunity to calm someone down and bring away the physical side of the game a little bit, then I'm all for that. Because I don't want to see lads getting cautioned and sent off. That, you know, if you get cautioned, I don't know what it's like down south. I imagine it's pretty much the same. If you get a yellow card in Cheshire, it's 12 quid, which means after your 5 subs, you know, you've had a day out costing nearly 20 quid just for one game of football. Yeah, all right, it's their fault, but we've all had them referees that are a bit too keen to get it out and control it with those yellow cards. So maybe a little bit more flexibility for the players in that sense, which might require some more progressional training to go on for both players and referees. Our league hasn't voted in roll on roll off subs yet. I don't know why. Some leagues have, around us leagues have, or, you know, other areas around us have. We just haven't done it. I don't get it. You know, nobody wants to turn up and be on the bench till the 75th minute. I can't get my head around that. I think that should be mandatory in grassroots football. Then I could choose to use it or not use it as a manager. You know, if our players don't want to do it, fine. But there's teams who've only got 1 sub and they're turning up with 12 men and they're getting told it's not roll on, roll off. So I'd like to see that made mandatory. But no, I think we're pretty active at the minute in sort of keeping keeping within the rules. I don't want to see anything drastic changing. I don't want to see people trying to referee a game at Sunday League like they're refereeing in the Premier League. We do have a lot of flexibility. I'm not keen on trying to implement the Premier League standard for handball at Sunday League, because they get one angle at it, they get one view of it, and quite often the referees are not in the best position, just through the nature of the way the game goes about. You know, a bit more common sense. That'd be my overall call, really. A bit more common sense to control the flow of the game, keep the lads happy, and just let the game run, really.
Yep. So last question. Just really want to know your favourite memories from Sunday League and basically what it means to you.
What it means to me, I suppose, if you was to ask the wife, she'd probably tell you it means absolutely everything to me. She thinks probably most days that I pay more attention to Dee Rangers than I do to her. There's probably times when she's right, but they take a lot more looking after than she does. I think I've spent that many years doing it, involved in it, really in the thick of it, not just playing, but properly in the thick of it, of running the team. I think it's become like a pillar of who I am. It's a fundamental part of who I am. A lot of people I know me, oh, it's Ryan from Dee Rangers, or, you know, lads who think I'm 10 years older than I am because they've known me for that long. They don't believe I can only be early 30s. Jesus, you've been around for 15 years, you've got to be older than that, you know. And I think that's a testament to the people that I've hung around with and kept myself involved with, the teams I've been involved with, the maturity we've shown, and all that sort of stuff. It's been brilliant. I've made lifelong friends that, you know, will come into the wedding and all that sort of stuff. Been brilliant. So what it offers off the field to be involved in football is massive, absolutely massive. It keeps us healthy, it keeps us strong, keeps us active, and it gave us something to look forward to. That return to football after COVID was all we wanted to do, and you can see that, you know, not just me, but the whole squad was absolutely buzzing to be back out, and, you know, it was great fun. So that side of it, I love, absolutely love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I think more people could maybe remember that before it's too late. More people could remember the incredible things that football brings, the highs and the lows that playing brings them, rather than cancelling games because Liverpool are on the telly or whatever. You know, there's a few times we've had to cancel training because the Champions League's on and stuff like that, and you think, surely, you know, you've got Sky Plus, you've got this, that, and the other. You know, there's 40 lads in the WhatsApp group. Surely we can get 12 down to train to have a little kick around. But instead, people forget until it's too late. You know, so I think, and that's every club I speak to have those same issues. So I think maybe people could remember it. But for me, those highs come in the forms of off the field a lot. You know, when we got granted charter standard status, I was made up, first club in the league to get it. That was fantastic. You know, a quality charter standard club, first club in the league to get it, first club in Cheshire to get it. You know, these things that we do in the community, raise thousands and thousands of pounds for charity. The only club that does it. They're mega for me. They're amazing. But, you know, I still think we've been to one cup final in my 10 years, and I think if we get to one more and we win it, that'll do me. I think that'll be the moment I'll remember, because my brother plays with me, and up until the last couple of years, my uncles played with me, and it really is like a family for us. So to be able to win that cup, come runner up that year, was amazing. But to go that one further, I think is the highs of winning a penalty shootout to get to the final, you know, all those things. It's too many to mention every individual one, but, you know, I'll take one, for example, when we won against Tarvin in the cup quarter final the year just gone. We've had the COVID break, we've all come back. Our goalie's not turned in, so we've put our top goal scorers gone in goal. We've finished the game 3-3 with the goalkeeper, standing goalkeeper, scoring a goal. Gone to penalties, and the standing goalkeeper saves one. And then the centre half, who's never missed a game in 3 years, goes up and slots the winning penalty. And we just, you know, 17, 18 lads in a field in the middle of Tarvin's a countryside area. You know, it's farmland. There's like 17 lads in the middle of a farm just going bonkers. and it's brilliant. It's second to none. And then, you know, you just can't replicate that. And I think everybody who watches your channel and who is involved in Sunday League knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I love it, and you just can't beat it.
Ryan, really appreciate you giving me your time. Obviously, you can check out Dee Rangers on Twitter. I don't know if you obviously you've got the YouTube channel as well, Instagram probably as well. Yeah, just want to say thank you for giving me your time. Obviously, you're a very busy man. I really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.